Okay, we are live. Welcome to this Saturday morning. I'm Lori Morris, acrylic painter, and I want to show you my favorite acrylic painting supplies. I've had some questions about this, and I've never really done a video to be very specific on what supplies I use. So this video will help with that. I am going to start with my brushes because that is the most important part of the technique that I use. The paintbrushes I talk about a lot. If you've watched any of my videos, you'll notice me talking about knife edge brushes. And so they don't really, I mean, when they're brand new, this edge is like pristine. And can you see that, Rachel?
Yeah.
So I have my niece Rachel with me, helping me as usual. Thank you, honey. Anyways, so if this was brand new, that edge would be super smooth, and brand new brushes are really fun to use. So I like to have quite a few sizes. There's kind of a larger one that's about the same size but has a longer handle. And then I have like one a tiny bit smaller, and then of course really small. And these are great because you end up using them. You use them to make different size lines. If you paint this direction, it makes a really fat line. If you turn it and you paint this direction, it makes a thin line. If you have it wet and you just dip a little bit of your brush in the paint on the corner, you can do little tiny dabs. If you want bigger smushes, you like just press harder and makes big smushes. Anyways, these are amazing. This is really the secret to the method that I use to paint. And then I have, of course, I always need a fine detail brush. These I don't use very much. I use them at the very end of the painting, but they're just round, fine detail brushes. I use these to sign my paintings as well. And a filbert brush, definitely need a couple of sizes of these as well, because these are good for blending clouds especially. So that's good. Fan brushes, they're really cool. They're kind of like a knife edge brush in that they have such a nice fine line. I don't use them all that much, but it is nice to have one. The next thing I want to show you is my colors. I use acrylic, golden acrylic paint, and one of my very signature colors that I use is phthalo blue. My signature color is phthalo blue red shade. It's almost a purpley royal blue, and then there's a phthalo blue green shade. This one's more aqua, and these are two of my favorite colors. Payne's Gray is also super fun because it's actually purple. It's a really dark purple. Mix it with white, you just instantly have all sorts of shades of purple. Carbon black is really necessary to dull down colors. And I have a few different types of green that I use. I use chromium green and green. The hooker's green is a one because it's so dark, so deep that it has a lot of uses, because all you have to do to make a lot of different colors of green is add white to it, different amounts of white. And chromium oxide green is kind of more a medium to light color green. Yeah, it's good. Now, if you really want brighter greens, then you add a little bit of turquoise phthalo. That's a really fun color. And then another color that you really can't get if you try to mix it is quinacridone magenta. So I try to buy as few colors as possible. So all the colors I'm showing you are kind of my minimal painting colors, because yeah, you need to mix every other color, and this is something that you could never come up with. Quinacridone magenta isn't something that you could mix. So here's another base color, cad yellow light. I only have one type of yellow. That's the only yellow I use. I only have one type of red, cad red medium. And then I have a brown, and of course titanium white. I use titanium white quite a bit. I just ran out of this, so that's why I have such a small.
I'll show you your tone.
So my husband is doing some yard work, thankfully, but he's making a lot of noise doing it. So we're gonna go to let him know that we hear him. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you is palette knives. These are super fun.
If you are doing live stream, this is too loud. We'll be done soon. It's okay.
Okay. So these are palette knives, and different sizes and different shapes. And these are cool because basically you just spread your paint on buttering bread, and it just really it smooths the paint on really, really well. And you can even mix your paints with these. Yeah, these are great. What did you say?
You just did a frowny face.
Something I really wanted to show you is light molding paste. This stuff, this is cool.
Oh, beautiful.
I can open it. It's just kind of white, and what you do is you mix your paint into it. Well, get it onto a palette, mix your paint into it, and then it adds a huge amount of texture. You can make the paint stand out on your canvas and stuff. So basically, the thickness of the paint using acrylic. So this I would highly recommend. I'm going to have a link to all these different things in my description of this video when the video is done, and so then you can actually click on the link and then see all these things up close and see the prices and even order them on Amazon if you'd like. Something else I wanted to show you is that titanium white is such a necessary color. I often buy these huge tubs because I use it more than this. Do we have any questions, Rachel?
We have my mom saying things. She's just
say?
saying hello.
Hello. Hi, Julie. Nice to have you live. Anything else that I need to know about?
Not yet, no.
Okay. So if you've watched any of my videos, you've definitely seen me use this. This is a Masterson, and love this because I don't have to throw my paint away when I'm finished painting for the day. I can just put my lid on, and because there's some layers in here, the paint is sitting on a kind of, I don't know what this paper is. It's some kind of paper that the paint can sit in. It's kind of breathable, and under there is it's filled with water, and that's it. Just these two layers. And what it does is it helps the acrylic paint to stay wet, and then just put the lid on, and then I can use this up without throwing it away. And I love that because this paint is so expensive. You don't want to throw it away every time. And so I actually bought another side. The big one doesn't have as nice of a seal. Like, so this has this really awesome edge. This one, it's a little harder to close, and I find that the paints don't stay as wet in this ginormous one. They seem to dry out a little bit quicker. So my is the small one, and so what I've done is I actually bought two of them, and I'll probably buy a little more because it's nice to have a few different paint palettes going, depending on what you're working on. Now a couple other things I want to show you are, this is a water well, and what I love about this, I've mentioned this in videos before, there's this ribbed circle at the bottom, and so when you're with water, brush, and you just wipe it back and forth on these ribs, and then all the paint falls to the bottom, and then your paintbrush stays clean. Because if you just had like a cup of water and you were pushing it on the bottom and cleaning it around in your water, then you've got this little kind of layer of kind of liquidy paint on the bottom that every time you dip your brush in there, it basically gets dirty again. So this prevents that from happening. I love it. And then there's brush holders on this side, and then there's brush holders on this side too. So I really like that.
My mom asked that if she wanted to do any sort of painting with her class, is there any way that you can make some of those palettes?
You can, and I've got a video on that. I'll link that. This video isn't live anymore. On the, is it the right side? Yeah, the right hand, to find some kind of shallow container like this, and then I use chamois, like ShamWow, as the foam bit, and just wax paper or parchment paper as the paper that you put on top. The only thing though is after using the homemade ones, they don't last as long, but I suppose for a class, like if you were only doing a project for say a week or something, it would work. But for professional artists, I find it doesn't work long term, like over a long time. Like sometimes I've maybe taken a month off painting or 6 weeks, and I come back and my paint's still wet in here, but it wouldn't be in the homemade version. I'm actually just gonna grab one of my homemade versions to show you. So I found these little shallow containers at Michael's. I'm sure there's probably something on Amazon as well. And I think what they're for is storing photographs, like 4x6 photographs, I think. And so because of that, they weren't really trying to seal them for water tightness. And so there's a bit of a seal there. And I just do that and that. But I think that's the main problem with this, is that air does get in here. And then possibly too, maybe if I layered 2 chamois, like I've only got 1, and maybe if I had 2 or 3, maybe then more water would stay in there and keep it wetter. So for a classroom, it could work. And it's a fun project that maybe each of the kids could take home.
They could also paint the little boxes too.
Yeah, that's right. They
Yeah.
could make their own little name on there and stuff. So one other thing I wanted to show you is I wanted to try a paint storage type of idea. So what this is it's a pill container from the dollar store. So Sunday, Monday, all the pills would go in the different days of the week. But I thought, I really don't like always opening and closing my paint tubes, because you're in the middle of something, you just need a bit of paint. You don't want to be like, okay, open the tube, squish some in. Oh, gotta get my cap back on, because if you don't put your cap back on right away, paint hardens around the edge, and then paint hardens around this edge, and then let's say you waited 20 minutes and you can't get it back on, and then you can never get a good seal again. So it's just kind of a pain always having to open these and close these. So I thought, oh, hey, here's a great idea. I'll just put each of my colors in each of these things, and hopefully it's watertight. Well, it sort of is, but I actually wouldn't recommend it. I'm going to go searching for something professional in this kind of idea. I know someone's made something proper, and if I find it, I'm going to put that in my Amazon store links as well, because that would be so awesome to find. And I know somebody's probably thought of it.
It might work if it's like for short term.
Yes.
Like,
this again.
but
So maybe again for the classroom, Julie, this kind of idea might work.
For like short term stuff, yeah.
Maybe, yeah. I was trying to use this over say a month, and I've got so much dried hard paint in there now.
You think if you added
It's
like
just-
water in there?
No,
that
it's
would
hard
be
as a
better?
rock. It's
Oh.
terrible. So if I do, and the other thing is, if I do find one that works well, that's why I'm holding on to this. I want to show you what not to do and what you could do instead. So now, is there anything else I wanted to show you of my paint supplies? Oh, the one more thing that's nice to have is just have a caddy. I got this at the hardware store, and I just thought it was a nice way to store all my brushes in one place. Yeah, so any more questions? Any more thoughts?
Acrylic painting tutorial just said that this is a great tutorial.
Awesome. Yeah, I can't think of anything else that I want to show you. And so I think that means that this live stream is super duper short. So thank you for joining us, and